Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Today, a few updates. First, the budget and a big boost for small businesses serving historically disadvantaged communities. Second, progress on banning the carotid restraint statewide. And third, a major community asset that is opening today. Topic number one, a very important vote today that directed funding to help businesses in low and moderate income communities throughout San Diego. And to frame this topic, I wanted to talk about yesterday's budget vote. In this moment, of course, we have several immediate priorities. Not only must we help our economy recover from the COVID-19 crisis, we must also help our nation acknowledge and act on systemic racism. Systemic racism that has held back far too many Americans from their true potential. The budget that the City Council adopted yesterday lays a foundation for our city to move forward on these fronts, and I have signed it. The budget also accomplishes two other very important goals. It's responsibly balanced, and it continues to fund key neighborhood services like parks, libraries, street repair, and reducing homelessness. And I want to thank the City Council for their positive amendments that they made to the budget yesterday. Of course, it isn't my budget, it isn't the council's budget, it's the public's budget. And we've heard the voices of the public on our streets. And I've heard the voices calling into the City Council meeting last night. You're ready for change. In fact, you're impatient for it. Democracy, of course, is not a result, it is a process. And I'm encouraged, very encouraged by seeing so many San Diegans engaged in this process. Yesterday, we heard and read thousands of concerns from the community during the budget hearing. For far too long, we've heard that we've asked our police department to do too much. We've asked our officers to be social workers. We've asked our officers to be mental health clinicians. We've asked our officers to resolve disputes between neighbors. We've tasked our officers with fixing so many of our societal problems that are not law enforcement problems. And there is another way. Other professions are better suited to address these important issues. It's no secret to many of you that for years I've been pushing for mental health services to be the frontline response to homeless San Diegans with mental health issues and to help provide them with the proper care that they need. It shouldn't be left to our police department to carry this responsibility alone. And that's why I'm working with our City Council partners to examine ways together that we make sure our department is focused on its core purpose, which is public safety. I was also proud in yesterday's budget to support the creation of the first Office of Race and Equity with a $3 million for a community equity fund. These are firsts for our city, and they're in part in credit to every resident who has made their voice be heard. And today, we made another meaningful change to support our underserved communities. The City Council this afternoon, with my strong support, cast a critical vote. 50% of the federal stimulus funds for small businesses will be directed to historically disadvantaged communities. That's half of the $13 million CARES Act funding that we set aside for supporting our struggling businesses. And this is going to be a huge boost, a really huge boost to many local companies, including minority-owned businesses and those who serve our diverse communities. And I look forward to working with the entire council to create and to build on this very positive momentum and positive change for our city. Topic number two, progress on banning the carotid restraint statewide. Last week we saw very meaningful progress on the ban to ban the carotid restraint method. We began the week, of course, with Chief Nislight announcing SDPD would stop the use of this method. And soon after, other cities in the county and throughout the state took note and are following in those same footsteps. And of course, even the governor came out in support of this reform. That's why I've joined having the city of San Diego on the record in support of State Assemblyman Mike Gibson's bill, AB 1196, to ban the use of the carotid restraint at the statewide level. I want to commend the Assembly member for reaching out to my office in the development of this bill. And I'm proud to lend my support for what is a very positive step forward. There's more work to be done and more reforms to introduce. And tomorrow, I will be announcing some additional reforms directly as a result from our city listening to the community. Topic number 3, another reopening. And I know a lot of San Diegans have been waiting for. We love the outdoors. It's instilled in all of us, I think, in San Diego. And that's why we have prioritized reopening our parks, our beaches, our lakes, and our trails as safe it was safe to do so. One of our region's most popular hikes, of course, is Cowles Mountain in Mission Trails. And that's why it has been actually one of the hardest to reopen. If you've been up to the top, you know it can be crowded and becomes very narrow in some parts. And while other trails could be turned into a loop, a way to limit the hikers passing each other, Cowles Mountain, of course, could not. But as of this morning, one of San Diego's most popular views is open again for normal park hours. And as of yesterday, all parking lots, including those at Mission Trails, are open for full capacities. Hikers will notice new signage, continuing to require facial coverings. Groups remain limited to family units, and of course, physical distancing for wherever possible. I want to thank San Diegans for continuing to do the right thing when it comes to social distancing. As we've talked about on numerous occasions, it allows us to keep reopening more and more. And as we opened up our boardwalks and our piers today, just in time for some summer weather, let's keep it up. Let's continue to do the right thing as we move through these reopenings, safely move through these reopenings as a city and as a region. So thank you so very much. Do not believe we have any questions from members of the media. So with that, thank you, and that concludes today's briefing.